Okay, so let's make a start for your pregnancy yoga class this evening. So let's just find a comfortable seated position. So go ahead and fold up a pillow if you haven't already got one underneath your bottom, just to get a little bit of height under the hips, and then bring the legs into your easy pose with one foot closer into the body and the other foot slightly further in front so that you're not completely crossing the ankles. A few ladies were mentioning achy pelvises, maybe achy pubic bones, SPD type stuff, in which case take one leg out or both legs out and keep your legs about hip distance apart. You can also, if you've got a bolster nearby or a few pillows, you could straddle it and come into a kneeling position. So you've got a few options there for the first part of the class. So let's sit up nice and tall, roll the shoulders up, back and down, open the chest. And we're going to just place our hands in a grounding mudra this evening. We're going to have them facing down on the knees. And you can still bring the first finger and thumb to lightly touch in that little OK symbol, but just rest the hands down. There's a lot of tiredness, and we're going to go with something maybe a little bit more grounding, a little bit more restorative. So if you're ready, you can bring the chin down a few degrees and go ahead and close the eyes. If anyone feels uncomfortable with your eyes closed for any reason, just peer through your eyelashes towards the floor and keep your focus nice and soft. I'm going to just take a moment here to quietly arrive for our practice, letting go of our busy days, and just giving you and your babies this next hour or two just to connect in, move, breathe, relax, and recharge. So with the eyes closed, just scan through your body, starting in the crown of the head, noticing sensations all around the top of the head, and then moving your awareness down across your forehead, relaxing your eyes, relaxing your cheekbones, and softening your jaw. So allow the teeth to rest slightly apart. You can let your tip of your tongue touch behind the top two teeth, or you can just relax the tongue. And then scanning down through the neck and the shoulders, slowly down the arms to the elbows and the hands. Just letting the hands rest completely on the knees. Kind of empty the arms. And then moving that awareness down your torso, feeling any sensations that you notice, feeling the movement of your breath, maybe noticing your heart beating, and just quietly moving your awareness down through the body, almost as if you're moving a sense of warmth and calm all the way down your back, noticing the skin across your back, all the way down into those sitting bones. And as you relax your tummy, just giving your babies a little bit more room. Just notice any sensations in or around your belly. So noticing if you feel a bit like you're running out of space, or you've had a growth spurt, or if your babies are having a sleep, or if they're giving you a little nudge. Just notice what's going on in this moment. And just start to visualize them head down, right down behind the pubic bone. Even if you're aware that your babies aren't in that position, or you're miles off even needing to think about it yet, just to visualize them with their heads right down behind the pubic bone, and their backs coming up just to the left of your belly button. So their back is against the front of your tummy, just to the left side. Little bottom somewhere underneath your front left ribs, and then all curled up, kind of in this cross-legged position, but all scrunched up, giving you little kicks around the right side of your waist. And just say hi to your babies this evening. Let them know where you are, why you're practicing tonight, how you're feeling, anything else you want to share with them today. And then just send them a little smile and a feeling of love. And then moving your awareness, that kind of sense of warmth and calm, down through the thighs. Relaxing the inner thighs, moving down into the knees. And then sending your awareness slowly down the shins and the calves, into the ankles, down into the tops of the feet and the soles, and into all 10 toes. And noticing how that base, all the parts that are touching the floor now feel even more grounded. Notice that imprint you're making down into your mat. And allow yourself to feel a bit heavier into that base, a bit more rooted, safe, stable and calm. And the more grounded we feel, perhaps from the waist down, then we can start to feel a bit light from the waist up. So starting to feel perhaps a little bit of buoyancy around your inhales, a little bit of inflation around the chest, where we feel like we're just lifting up a little bit. And let the head just feel completely easy, resting on the top of the spine. Chin down, back of the neck long, and that light space all around the crown of the head. So notice sensations slightly beyond your skin now. We've just scanned through the whole body. But can you feel the air as it touches your arms or your face? Can you feel any tingles that extend out beyond the edges of your skin? Almost like a bit of a ready breck glow as you tune into that subtle, energetic body that extends all around us in every direction. Just allow yourself to expand as much as you can into that space around you. Good. And then thinking just about any intention to set for your practice this evening, maybe an intention to set for the week ahead. What is it that you most need? What is it that would be most kind of yourself to give to yourself? And notice what springs to mind. And think about why that's your intention. Why does that spring to mind? I'm going to take a lovely, big, deep breath in to prepare for the practice. And then a lovely, big sigh out of the mouth. So inhaling into the belly. And exhaling out of the mouth, as if you're steaming up a mirror. Or steaming up some sunglasses, held just an inch in front of your face. Now keep breathing these slow, full, deep breaths in, the biggest breaths you've had all week. And with the head still bowed down but growing tall, you can just start to open the eyes and look towards the belly and just bring the hands onto the tummy. So that as we breathe into the belly now, we're expanding the belly out, we're feeling the hands move away from each other. And then as you sigh and exhale, you can feel the hands draw back in. Inhale into that lovely big soft belly. Make loads of space for your babies. And then exhale, just feeling the hands draw back in. We're going to do 2 or 3 more belly breaths here. Trying to draw in as much air as you can through the nose if you haven't got a cold. And then sighing out the longest exhale. So if you're steaming up that mirror, it's going to help you elongate the breath. It's going to help you take deeper breaths. And it's going to help calming signals go around the body. So really focusing on the quality of that breath is really key. So one last breath here into the belly. And then just bringing the hands up to rest around the rib cage. We're going to breathe into the belly just as we've done. Make maximum space in the tummy and then start to breathe into the hands. So expanding your ribs out in every direction. When you get to the top of the inhale, just exhale that breath, let it all go. So working with your own rhythm of the breath, inhaling into the belly, expanding into those ribs. When you feel full, exhale, let it all go. So we just get to the top of the breath and then we exhale. We don't really want to hold the breath. So just feeling full breath in the tummy and then in the ribs. So the ribs, the front of the ribs will move forward, the sides of the ribs will move out, but can you also feel along the bra strap? Can you feel that move back? Can you really let your ribs expand 360 degrees? So this is great if you've been feeling any aches and niggles around the mid-back, maybe from computer work, and also if you've been feeling a bit breathless, just to explore the space that you have for breathing. So one more breath here into the belly and into those hands. Expand those ribs in every direction and then release. So the third part for this breath is just going to cross the hands on the chest. We're going to do belly, ribs, and then chest. So off you go in your own time, breathing into the belly, expanding into those ribs, breathing up to the collarbones, and exhale. So when you get to the top, you let all of that breath completely go. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest, and exhale. So lovely big sigh out of the mouth, steaming up the mirror still. It's our Darth Vader breathing. Sounds really noisy and throaty. Once you catch it on the exhale, that almost ha sound. See if you can compress the same throat muscles. So you hear the sound on the inhale as well. And can control the inhale just as well. Last couple of breaths, go for maximum expansion. One more breath. And gently release. Okay, so sitting up tall, we're going to start with some space making by bringing the arms up over the head, letting the palms meet, and then exhaling, pressing the hands back down towards the ground. So inhale, lift up through the waist, press down into the legs as you lift up through the arms, and then exhale, press those hands down as if there's something resisting your hands or you're moving through treacle. So the arms are quite activated. Inhale, press down into those legs, lift the ribs up high, lots of space around the middle, and in your own time, exhale when you reach the top of that breath. Good, inhale, stretch out with all 10 fingertips, activate the hands, keep the shoulders a bit quiet and soft, and exhale. So we're looking for space all around the waist, trying to ground down with our pelvis, and then lift up with our rib cage. Keep that lift in the rib cage, keep it up as you drop the arms down. So you might have found just another millimeters worth of space, and that's brilliant. I'm going to do one more here. Big breath in, big breath out. And then a couple of little shoulder rolls, just to ease any tension from the upper back, letting the head nod, kind of bringing it up and down as you roll your shoulders up, back and down. Good, hands down onto the knees. We're going to just do a few circles here just to warm up into the pelvis. Notice if your hips go ahead and click, that's fine. See if you can relax your thighs and relax your tummy. So we're looking for that sense of heaviness and grounding from the waist down, and then the equal and opposite force, lightness and growing tall from the waist up and out through the crown of the head. Keep going with your birth breathing, that Darth Vader breath. Big breath into the tummy, big sigh out, steaming up your mirror, and then we're going to pause and circle it the other way. Good, so you can move slowly, really, really slowly, or you can move with a bit more pace. Just listen to your body. If there's any niggles in the back, anything feels a bit kind of twingy, then make your circles much smaller and slower. Good. So coming back to center, inhale, we're going to bring the arms back up over the head. This time interlace the hands, press the ceiling away and spread your toes so your feet feel really active, just like the hands. Take another breath in as you reach up tall, and then exhale, come into a little side bend. Inhale to center, exhale the other way. Inhale to center, exhale, come over, and you're just finding that space all around the ribs and the waist and up into the armpit. Going to press the hands away from you. Just do that one more time on each side. Keep your feet active, those toes spread, and then we'll drop those hands all the way down. A couple more little shoulder rolls as you move the head. Good. And then let's take the legs out and get into some circulation. So bringing those legs out, maybe giving the knees a little rub, and just straight away going into circles with the wrists and the feet. Just lovely big circles as you spread the fingers and toes. Continue to breathe deeply and slowly. So inhaling into the tummy, we're going to bring the arms up over the head. Exhale, big sigh. Now see if you can get those feet and those hands going a little bit more vigorously. And then we're going to change direction. Take another big deep breath in. Another big deep breath out. On your next exhale, slowly start to bring the arms down. And then have a little kind of flop as you take a big sigh. So just pressing pause here in our practice, having a moment to melt, release tension, kind of go a bit ragdoll throughout your whole body, and start to blow out your golden thread breath as if you're blowing out 100 birthday cake candles. So you're going to breathe in softly and then blow out through a little hole in the lips. The longest exhalation that you can, and relax your whole body. Good, so it's quite nice when we do that because then we can feel all the tingles in the hands and the feet. I'm going to do a second set of that this evening. So just start to circle the hands and the feet again, really vigorously. We're going to bring them back up over the head. Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. Now just point the hands up towards the ceiling and then circle the arms. So keep your feet going if you can, but the arms are going. Take another big breath in if you're getting a bit tired. See if you can get the thighs involved, as long as it's not too sore for anyone's pubic bones. And then start to circle the other way. Lots of coordination, well done, lots of concentration. Really powering up those arms, one more breath. And then flop, big sigh, blowing out the candle breath. Notice tingles, movement through the arms, through the legs. Brilliant. And then let's gently bring ourselves around, coming up into our all fours. So from all fours, we're going to spread the hands really wide, shoulder width apart, knees underneath the hips, and just come onto ballet point toes, just so you can feel the back of the waist become fairly flat, so we're not collapsing at the back of the waist. See if you can keep that on in the back. Okay, sorry everyone, I think we had a little Zoom glitch, but we're all back. Everybody all with me? Little thumbs up, fabulous. Okay, let's crack on. So let's get back into our lovely all fours, doing our circles with the eyes closed if that's comfortable for you, and taking that time to lean into each hand and lean into each knee. Now relaxing the tummy here, give the babies more space, thinking about helping them get into a good position for birthing. Christina, as you mentioned your baby's in breech, if you want to just pop yourself up into a little downward dog and do some walking outs with the knees, so bending one knee and the other, that might be quite nice just to give your baby a little nudge around so they might find their way into a different position. And everyone on all fours, we're just going to pause and then circle the other way. Inhale, lovely big breath in, lovely big breath out. And if you're getting achy wrists, bend those elbows. That's going to really, really help. Good. Now coming back to center, we're going to pick up one knee and then start to do little circles with that knee, forwards, out and back. And then you can start to make the circles just get bigger and bigger. Anyone with SPD, keep your circles small, about the size of an orange. But anyone without an achy pubic bone, you can start to really get into the hips here, lifting those legs out to the sides, up and back. Now bend the elbows, look down at the floor and take deep breaths in and out. If you get a bit too tired, just pause, have a little rest, and then join back in when you can. So this is definitely going to help tire out any kind of restless legs, because we're tiring out the legs here, and it's also great for hips. Fantastic. Now bring that leg down, take a breath when we're back in center, and then when you're ready, taking the other leg, start with little circles, forward, out and back, little bend in the elbows, feel strong across your back. Big inhale, big exhale as you slowly start to lift that leg a little bit higher up and out to the side. So you're going to really feel this in the glutes, in the bottom and in the hip. It can feel really lovely to make space, but also it's quite strengthening because it's quite hard work. So keep breathing, keep moving. And again, if you need a little rest, just pause, miss a couple out, and then join back in when you can. Good. And then let's bring the leg back down. We're going to take the first leg that you used and bring the leg behind you and place the top of the foot on the floor so that my actual foot's resting down, the sole's facing up. And then take that hip and just roll it towards the ground as you bend the knee, so the whole leg becomes like a ragdoll leg, it becomes empty. And then we're going to just shake it out from hip to toe, give it a good wiggle. See if you can literally feel your bottom shaking as you glue the foot down, but the rest of the leg is like a rag doll. Shake it, shake it, shake it. It's a bit of an awkward one, this, so don't worry if you don't quite feel super comfortable in it or you don't get it straight away. We're going to change legs, so take the other leg back, rest the top of the foot on the floor. So just be careful of your hands here, ladies. Little bend in the elbows, spread the fingers wide, and then roll that back hip down and bend the knee and shake out that back leg. Give it a really good shudder. That's it. Deep breath in. Deep breath out as you shake it, shake it, shake it. And then come back to center. Wonderful. Coming back to the first side. Take that leg back. This time the toes are going to tuck under. So I'm on my toes. And I'm going to press back into my heel to get a lovely little calf stretch going. Leaning slightly into that side of the body, I'm going to lift my opposite arm up. So I've got my right arm up and my left leg back. So just make sure you've got your opposite arm up to the leg that's back. And then just reach forward and back here. Almost get a slight squeeze through the inner thigh, as if you're trying to squeeze the thighs together. And then just breathe in and out. And you're going to feel, this is another one about stability and strength. If it gets too much, you can bring an arm down or you can bring the leg in, whatever's easiest for you. But try and keep one limb out, one arm or one leg, or both if you want to really go for it. We're going to take 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, gently bring the arm down and the knee down. Well done. So just pad the hands up and down, take any weight out of the wrists for a moment, and then place the hands down the opposite way round. So you're on the backs of the hands and you can see the palms, and just see how it feels to take a little bit of weight that way through the structure as you spread your fingers wide. You might be able to straighten the arms, but don't worry if the elbows are bent. And then placing the hands back down in front of you. So we're going to take that move to the opposite leg now. So taking the other leg back behind you, toes tuck under, just press gently back into the heel. Find your calf, just looking for a nice little calf stretch there. And then leaning your weight across to that side of your body. Inhale and lift the opposite arm up. Reach it forward, just as much as you're reaching that heel back. And then squeeze the inner thighs towards the center line. Maybe finding a bit of pelvic floor strength as you breathe in and breathe out. So we're really reaching out with that hand on a diagonal line. So from the side, you look like you're making a lovely sort of 45-degree line from the floor up to your hand. Just taking a couple more breaths here. Feeling nice and straight and nice and strong. And then gently releasing. Well done. Now let's open up the knees just a little bit wider than the hips, toes towards each other, and then come down onto the forearms just to give the wrists and the hands a little break. You might want to make a fist and just give the fingers a little wiggle, but then place the hands down onto the mat. The elbows need to be underneath the shoulders, so make sure they're not too wide apart. You want to have straight forearms down to those elbows, and then start with some lovely circles here, just circling the shoulders over the elbows and keeping your back lovely and long, lots of space across the whole of the back. Almost stick your tailbone up towards the ceiling just a little bit, and really enjoy those big circles with your bottom, just making lots and lots of space. So again, this is anything in circles, anything in all fours or down on the forearms can be really great when you're having contractions. And this circling movement with the bottom can help with dilation. And all of this work can help with baby positioning. So we're kind of ticking quite a few things off. Just keep breathing. And when you're ready, just start to circle in the opposite direction. Just allowing those shoulder blades to move and groove, loosening up any tension in the neck, letting your head sway from side to side in rhythm with your bottom. And then another big deep breath in, attention to the breath, and deep breath out, leaning into the ground. Fantastic, ladies, you're all doing really brilliantly. Great. And then as we come back from that one, we're going to take the right arm straight out in front of us and press it down onto the floor. So pressing the hand down, but the rest of my arms up in the air. And then take your left elbow out to the side and bring your forehead down onto the floor. And then just start to lean your bottom back away from your right hand. And you're going to find a lovely kind of stretch from the right wrist all the way through the armpit and along the right side of the body to the hip. So the hand's really active. You're squashing it down onto the floor as if you're trying to squash a grape underneath your fingers and underneath your hand. And then you're leaning your bottom back away from it, almost like you're pulling a bow. And then breathing into that space, breathing into the back, the shoulders, the bra strap, and the lower back. And then can you just exhale and soften? Keep everything where it is, but exhale and bring a quality of calmness to the whole pose, a quality of ease as you breathe softly into that space you're creating and resting your head on the floor. Very energizing when we rest our heads like this. Taking one more big breath in and out here. Let the ground really hold you. And then gently just coming back to center on both forearms. And then in your own time, taking that left hand out, reach it as far away as you can. Wrist up, elbow up. Right elbow, move it out to the side and place your forehead on the floor. And then with your exhale, just sink your bottom back, just an inch or two. Taking the bottom towards the wall behind you. It's quite subtle actually, it might not even be an inch, it might just be a few millimeters, because your hand's so glued down onto the floor you can't move that far back. But what you do create is that space from the wrist to the armpit to the hip, and space all around the sacrum and the lower back and the shoulder. So big breaths all into that side of the body. As you inhale, think about expanding, filling up like a big balloon in every direction. And then as you exhale, for the last few breaths here, really look for softness and ease and spaciousness and grace, and just relax into that shape. So if I was to say we're going to stay here 10 minutes, you'd have to kind of find a place to relax. And there's lots of little subtle shifts that would happen through your body to facilitate that. So just let that kind of happen, let your body find that, and just take 1 or 2 more breaths. Really well done. Great, and then inhaling, let's come back up into our lovely all fours, bringing the knees in and the hands down, and just tucking those toes under one more time. Just start to walk yourself all the way back. We're going to come into a kneeling position. So my knees are about 6 inches apart, got lots of space here, and I'm just seeing how it feels to take weight into my feet. And then I'm going to inhale and just walk myself back into all fours. And then exhale, walk back into my kneeling, hands into prayer. So we're just strengthening the feet here. We're just coming into a strong pose and then coming away again. Maybe trying to get those toes under a little bit more, coming up into a strong pose and then coming away again. Now, if you want to make this a bit stronger, the next time you come back, you're going to stay here in kneeling with the hands in prayer. And if you're 36 weeks over, or you've got SPD around the pubic bone, I'm going to suggest that you just stay with this kneeling position and just work on strengthening the feet. Maybe inhaling, engaging the pelvic floor, and exhaling, releasing. So that's one level of work for those ladies. And if you're not at 36 weeks and you haven't had any SPD, then what you can do is lean forward again into the hands, and then as you roll back, open up the knees and come in towards a little supported squat. Now you want your feet quite wide apart here, at least kind of 8 or 10 inches apart. And then when you're in this little supported squat, we're going to just bring one knee towards the floor, sit back, and then the other knee, and then sit back. So the really juicy part of this move is right in the middle, where your tailbone's going down towards the floor, but we want to just kind of move through that. And we're going to bring one knee towards the ground, and then the other, and just roll back into that little supported squat. So another one that's lovely for the hips. Good. So once you've done that movement, just getting that mobility in, come back to center, press one elbow against one knee, and then inhale, lift the other arm up, take a breath, and an exhalation, and another inhale, and exhale down. And then press the other elbow against the other knee, inhale the other side. So lifting up tall, deep breath in and out. Take your time, and on that next exhale, come back down. And we're just walking ourselves back into our lovely all fours. Okay, fantastic. So we're going to come into just regular kneeling now. So just letting your feet rest on the ground. So from the side, I'm just kneeling on my legs, and then grabbing your pillows or your bolsters if you've got them to hand. If you've got any of these at home, these are fantastic. But otherwise, just folding up a pillow and placing it in between your bottom and your feet. So we've got that height to sit on. Just having the knees a little bit wide, and then finding that lovely height through the body. So we're going to carry on with the chest and the mid-back. and some shoulder stuff. We're going to inhale very simply, just arching the spine, sending the fingers back, lifting the heart up, and then exhale, curling up into a little ball and giving yourselves a massive hug. And then inhale, sticking your tailbone out, lifting up the heart, nice stretch through the fingers, and then exhale, tucking the tailbone under, giving yourself a really big squeeze with the arms. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, expand. Exhale, big hug. And the last one, inhale, reach out with all your fingers, and exhale. Good. Now sitting up straight through your spine, we're going to come into eagle arms. So inhale, open the hands wide. This time exhale, I'm going to try and do it back to front so that I'm mirroring you and you can see well. We're going to exhale, bring the right arm underneath the left. So we're going to hook at the elbows and then twist and cross the arms again like ropes. So eventually the palms of the hands are coming towards each other and the thumbs are by your face. So we're going to look a little bit like this. And then relax the shoulders down, take the hands away, take a big breath into the shoulders. So you squeeze the palms together and then exhale, lift your arms up towards the ceiling. And then take the hands away from the face again, because they usually come into the head as we lift them up. And then inhale into the shoulders and exhale, relax. And take the hands away and up. If they start to kind of undo, if the hands come round so you can see the flat bit of your hand, try and twist them again so you just see the thumbs. So go to as far as you can. We're going to take 1 more breath here. And then as you release the arms, just do that lovely couple of shoulder rolls, just to ease out any tension from the shoulders. Now we'll do it the opposite way round. So we're going to take the arms out wide. This time take your left arm, bring it underneath the right. So you can either have the hands just back to back or go for 1 more loop and try and bring them palm to palm. Good. Now breathing in here, press the palms together. Big inhale, and then as you exhale, hands come away and lift them up towards the sky. Brilliant. So even if they're back to back, just see if you can keep pressing them towards each other, taking them away from the head and lifting them up to the sky. So the arms want to be in a bit of a right angle. You're going to feel this all across the tops of the shoulders. It can be quite intense. So while you're here, just breathe into that sensation. Know it's going to pass. Big sigh to relax. And in a moment when we let go of the arms, you'll get the release through those muscles, through those knots, and through that tension. So just a last couple of breaths here. See if you can go to your edge now, lifting the hands up and away as far as you can. Feeling that tension in your shoulders for 1 last breath. And then release. Well done. Little shoulder rolls here. And ease that out. Fantastic. You all did great there. Really well done. Okay, so let's move ourselves up into standing. So coming back almost to all fours, just so that we can walk the hands back and pick up both knees at the same time. Step your feet out so they're mat width and the toes are facing out, and lean into the heels. Start to inhale and walk yourself up the body. And literally using your hands to help bring you all the way up. And then when you get to the top of the mat, when you get all the way to the top, just roll your shoulders and bring your head back up onto the spine. So take a deep breath there. Have the feet underneath the hips. It's okay for the toes to face out. And just start by taking a bit of weight into the toes. And then a little bit of weight into the heels. So just finding eventually that point in the middle. But as we take the weight into the toes, we're gently strengthening the front of the body. And then taking the weight into the heels, we're gently strengthening the back of the body. So just looking for that little bit of resistance, that little bit of engagement when we get to each of those extremities, obviously without toppling over. Brilliant. Well done. And then find yourself somewhere in the middle. And then we're going to roll with the feet. So rolling the feet out. So you're on the outside edges of the feet. We're going to lift the inner arches up and just allow ourselves to take weight through the ankle here as we breathe in and out, just feeling that sensation up the outside edge of your ankle, maybe into the calf or the shin as you spread your toes. Activate your hands as if you've got little puppet strings, pulling them down towards the floor from every finger, and grow tall out through the crown of the head. So we're kind of moving in every direction, and keep breathing into a nice soft belly. Great, we're going to fold those feet back down to the ground, gently moving into the inner edges of the feet. It's going to bring the knees together and lift the outer edges up off the floor. And just see how that feels to take a little bit of weight through that inner edge of the foot. Don't worry if it feels a little bit awkward, just do what you can, and don't worry if you can't do the full thing, that's absolutely fine. And then we're going to move between the two, so just carefully, gently rolling out to the outside edges, and then carefully, gently just rolling in, bending those knees. Just doing that one more time. Brilliant. And then spreading your toes really, really wide. Bend the knees. We're going to bring the hands under the bumps, so we've got lots of support and a really soft tummy. But if you feel wobbly, you might want your arms out to help with balance, or even hold onto the wall or a chair. We're just going to lift up the heels and come onto the toes, and then drop back down again. You can also have one arm out in front of you if that's easier, or both arms. Might make it a little bit harder, but just keep your tummy relaxed. So all I'm doing, if I show you from the side, all I'm doing is rolling up onto the toes as I bend the knees, and then rolling down onto my feet. So wherever you need to move your arms to help you balance is fine. It's good for your calves and it's good for your thighs. So we're going to do one more roll up, get as high as you can, and back down. Fantastic. Now we're going to take the legs so that they're at least hip distance apart and the toes are going out. And if anyone's had SPD, so achy pubic bone, or you're 36 weeks and over, you're going to keep your feet exactly here. And then anybody that wants a little bit more of a vigorous workout today, you can go a little bit wider. But if you've got any kind of concerns, just keep your feet in, is the rule. And then wherever you are, just bend your knees in the direction of the toes. So if you're really wide, you're going to be coming down into something that looks a little bit like this. I'm going to place one hand on top of the other. I'm just going to lean into one leg and then lean into the other leg. And we're going to lift that elbow up high and then the other elbow. So you can drop down as low as you comfortably can. And if that doesn't feel great for you, just come back to a smaller stride with the legs. We just want to feel the thighs working, and we're going to feel that in this move. So we just want those thighs to work, to feel strong. Good. Now we're going to release the arms and gently just sway from side to side, reaching out with the fingertips. And keep breathing. If it gets too much, stop, have a little rest. And then if you've got the space, you can do some lovely big circles with the arms and just move all the way from one side into that other foot, one foot into the other. Good. Pausing at the top, we're going to change direction. Lovely big circles the other way. So if you're getting a bit short of breath because it's a bit more cardio, it's going to get your heart going, take a bigger inhale. Think about energizing with that big, strong inhale. Same when we're in labour, if we get a bit tired, focus on your inhales. Brilliant. And then as you come back to centre, just use your momentum to gently bring those legs back in and just really simply march that out. Placing your feet back on the floor, little bend in the knees, just roll your shoulders a few times. And then with the hands on the hips, you've got a couple of options here. So again, if you've got SPD, perhaps any twinges in the back, you're going to want to keep your circles with the pelvis really small and slow. That would probably feel more appropriate. I'm also going to offer a really big circle with the pelvis. If anybody feels like moving, dropping the head down, lifting the head up, and making this movement as big as your pelvis can go, whilst keeping the legs fairly straight. A little bit of quietness around the kneecaps. So depending on where you're at today, this might feel really lovely, or if it just feels a bit twingy and a bit niggly, you're going to just do the teeny weeny ones with the knees quite bent and almost focusing on your tailbone, drawing something the size of a 10-pence piece. So very slow, very tiny, very subtle. Both of them offer deep work, so don't worry about which one you choose today. There's no right or wrong. And then when you're ready, all looking good, ladies, we're going to take that in the opposite direction and just see how that feels to move that part of your body. It can feel really lovely if you're doing the big ones, just to kind of hang out almost in an upside down L shape and just feel that lovely stretch all the way down the backs of the legs. So that can feel really nice, just to take a little pause. Just stick your bottom out behind you and get into that lovely big stretch down through the legs. That might be where you're at today. Good. And then when you come back to center, you're going to bend the knees. We're going to hold on to an imaginary baseball bat. I'm just going to do some really nice movements as we look behind us and then pretend to hit that bat on a ball. Just swinging the bat, basically. Swinging it over one shoulder and then over the other. So notice where you're feeling the stretch, where you're feeling the work, and breathe into it. If you want to go a bit double time, you can speed it up. If you want to slow it down and just be a little bit more detailed, it can feel stronger actually when you slow stuff down. So explore that. Good. And then when you come back to center, we're going to interlace the hands and reach them up over our head. I've got quite a low ceiling, so try and reach them up over the head. Press the sky away, just have a lovely big stretch, and then release the hands down to your sides. Little shoulder rolls as you release the head up and down. Now turning your toes out, I'm going to place the hands into prayer at the heart. Take a big inhale as you lift up through the whole front of the body. And then exhale, soften the knees, start to stick your bottom out behind you, and then from the head, bring the chin to the chest. And then slowly start to curl yourself up, looking at your bumps, rounding up and over your bumps, letting the elbows rest on the knees and pointing the fingertips towards the floor. So we're going to hang out here in a supported forward bend because we're leaning on our own knees. And then let the head drop, and as you lift the shoulders to the sky, just give the head a little wiggle. Take a big sigh, almost as if you're breathing out the crown of the head, tilting your weight into those toes, having that little moment of surrender, of giving up, of letting it all go. Good. And then we're going to place the hands down on the floor and walk ourselves back into our all fours. Well done. We're going to finish with a pose on the floor that's pigeon pose. I'm going to talk you through it. If you've had SPD, you're going to try and keep your knee kind of as in line with you as possible. But if it doesn't feel great for you, you can come out. It can be really good to kind of stretch into the glutes and the piriformis and actually enable things to get into their right position. So I'd say have a little go. But if it's really not for you, you can just roll back out of it and join us in the next pose. So we're going to start in our all fours. We're going to take the right knee up behind the right hand, and then the right foot is somewhere in front of your left knee. So your lower leg's on a bit of a diagonal line. And then this is a really important cue. So take your hands and place them about 8 inches in front of where they were and bend your elbows. And then start to pick up the back leg and carefully walk that knee away from you. So walking with the foot taking that back leg further away from you. So you should end up in a position where your bump is comfortably in front of that front leg, which is on a bit of a diagonal. Now, if you're okay here, just bend the elbows and start to relax your pelvis towards the floor. And if you've got the space, you can even rest down on the forearms, pressing into the elbows and bringing the chin in. So if this is okay for you, you're going to hang out here and then just see how it feels to kind of play with the pelvis that's resting down towards the floor. If you lean the weight into that right sit bone a little bit, or take the left hip forward, as if you're just having a little rock and roll with the pelvis. Just see if you can find that point where this feels more deep. And then just hang out in that space. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. So opening up the front of the left hip and the hip flexor and along the front of the thigh, and hopefully getting into the right glute, the right bum cheek. Just take one more breath there, and then ease yourself back up onto the hands. Keep them quite far away from you. And as you walk the hands back towards you, just roll onto your right bottom and your right leg. And then with your hands, just gently bring your left leg all the way up to join the right. So you're kind of just sitting in mermaid, able to press down into the floor and walk yourself back carefully into all fours. Well done. So we'll have a little go on the other side. So we'll just take the left knee this time up behind the left wrist, and your left foot is somewhere in front of your right knee. And then take your hands forward about 8 to 10 inches and bend the elbows. Start to pick up the back leg and carefully and slowly walk your leg away from you. So you can drop your pelvis down. And then if you're comfortable with that, you can come down onto the forearms. Just making sure you've got enough space for your bump in front of that front leg. And then having a little wiggle with the pelvis, seeing where it feels good, where you can find your edge. So for most of us, that means maybe bringing the right hip forward and sitting into that left sit bone a little bit, as if you're sitting into a chair behind you. Find your breath, big sighs, and have a moment just to connect down onto the earth. Breathing into wherever you're feeling this, and finding that ease again. We were going to stay here for 10 minutes, which we're not going to, but if we were, what would you have to do inside to make this really kind of comfortable and sustainable? Can we apply least effort and get maximum benefit? So just 2 or 3 more really full breaths here. And then very carefully just bringing your hands in as you roll your weight onto that left bottom and your left leg, and carefully bring that right leg all the way up into the mermaid. So from here, we can just come around back into our easy pose. So one foot in front of the other. If you always have a favorite side here, let's swap it around just to get those hips a little bit more even. And then we're going to finish with the right hand on the heart and the left hand on the tummy. As you bow your head down, just take a few moments here to do your golden thread breath. So making a little hole in the lips, blowing out a thread of gold on the breath. It's just as if you're blowing out 100 candles on a giant birthday cake. So it's the longest exhale you can. Nice big deep inhale and another long golden thread breath. Do that one more time. As you sit up tall, relax the arms, relax the shoulders and bow the head. And at the end of that breath, just sit quietly for a moment, drawing your focus inward. Maybe closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Relaxing your tummies. Again, visualizing your babies with their heads down and their backs along the left side of your belly in what's called the optimum position for birth. And with the hands on the heart and the solar plexus, just notice any heat or sensations underneath the hands. So with our heads bowed, we're acknowledging the wisdom in our heart, our intuition, our truth, that deep knowing. And we're just reminding ourselves just to listen to that mother's instinct. It's usually very spot on. And sometimes it contradicts the mind. The mind might be telling you, oh, we should be doing this. Or someone else might be telling you, oh, you ought to be doing that. And that can really get into the head. So the best thing to do is just come back to that mother's instinct from your heart, from your deep knowing. Trust your instincts. Let that be your best guide. So bringing your hands onto the floor in front of you, just grounding as you lean into them and relax your whole body. With 3 big sighs here. Letting any final stresses or concerns just melt out of your hands into the earth. And at the end of the last breath, just start to turn yourself around and lie down for your Shavasana. So taking your time to get warm and comfortable, using the mat, or if you want to, you can pop up onto a bed or a sofa if that's nearby. Making sure you've got some nice relaxing music playing if you haven't already. Using pillows under your head so the neck's completely supported, under your bump, your waist or your hips can feel good too, or between the knees. Okay, so once you're resting comfortably, taking a few big sighs here as you settle onto the ground. Can you let your whole body just melt a little bit more into the mat? What do you need to do with the head to let that feel another 10% more rested? And then once more, can you feel sensation around the crown of your head? Softening the eyes and the jaw. Allowing every muscle in the face to feel completely at ease. And just scanning down through the body, bringing with it that warm and calming energy through to every single cell as you move down the neck and into the shoulders, quietly all the way down the arms to the fingertips. Moving down the torso, feeling the gentle rhythm of the breath moving the ribs and the belly. Moving that warm, calming energy down the spine, down the torso, to the waist and the tummy, and then down to the hips and the thighs. Just feeling that warm, calming energy moving down the thighs into the knees, the calves and the shins, down into the ankles and the feet, and down into all 10 toes. feeling your whole body resting upon the floor. Just notice the sensation across your forehead. Keep your awareness there as you relax and drift off towards sleep for another few minutes until I bring you back round. So as you feel your whole body resting completely on the ground, just notice any sensations in or around your body. Have a sense of the support from the ground underneath you. Have a sense of that connectedness to everything around you. As you take some deeper inhales back into the body, gentle reawakening inhales, just breathe in anything you need a little bit of for the rest of today or for this week ahead. Just breathe in anything you need, whether that's a bit of strength or clarity or positivity or the ability to stay present and grounded. Whatever it is that you need help with, help in your communications, whatever springs to mind is perfect. You go with that, but just breathe that in with every big inhale. And as you inhale, start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. So you're sending that intention, you're sending that breath to every cell in the body. Wiggling the fingers, toes, having a little stretch, and then listening to all the sounds around you as you gently orientate back into your room, having that sense of where you are. As you inhale, gently opening the eyes, noticing how you feel. Taking that sense of kind of coming home to yourself. This feeling we're really used to, it's always been with us. It always will be with us. We find it when we're about to nod off to sleep, or when we just wake up in the morning before we get rushed or too distracted, but it's always part of you. It's a good place to come from if you've got decisions to make, things to do. And just recognizing that feeling as that deepest part of yourself. How does that feel for you? Taking that with you. into your week ahead. So one more lovely big inhale. Start to stretch out through the arms. When you're ready, just rolling to your left. Slowly, carefully inhaling as you come back up to seated. Maybe give the shoulders a little roll when you get to the top. See how you feel. Well done, everybody. So thank you all so much for sharing your practice with me and with everybody else. Let's bring our hands together in prayer, and to each other we just say namaste. Namaste. And I'm just going to come up here and unmute you all.